is joining. Turn the volume up. Hello.
Evening, mate.
How are we?
You good?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, man. I'm all right. I thought
I was just panicking then because I was speaking to the camera and then my mum come in and went, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Mum, I'm going live."
I'm waiting for a knock on the door, waiting for it to come in. She's like, "Oh, so."
I was just saying too, I was just checking on my Apple Watch before this, because before I do any of these, the nerves, the 15 minutes of nervousness I get before it, and I looked, it was 95 beats per minute I was on, and I was just sitting here panicking.
Oh God, I don't know what I'm on. My watch is fine at the minute, but I bet mine's through the roof. It's weird. But we're dead nervous. It's weird. But no,
It's weird, isn't it? I always think that because I always try to do my hardest thing. I try to do at the beginning of the day. Always said, do your hardest thing in the morning. That's it, eat the frog. But with this, I can't. But I appreciate doing the hard things in the morning now.
Yeah, I'm not doing a podcast at 6 a.m. in the morning.
No, especially a live one.
Not that.
Exactly. So, one thing I want to try and delve into is a lot into your life, and because you brought so much value to my life, I feel like the audience would benefit from it a lot.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first got you as a coach, I remember I went to my friends, I was like, "Oh, I've got a coach." And a lot of them was like, "What? What's that?" Like, a lot of people don't fully comprehend it. So do you want to go through probably what you do day by day and what your job is, or what your role is as such?
Yeah, so at the minute, it's a bit different. Obviously, we've got that. But usually, I actually started off as an online coach, so just doing what me and you do now.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the day and age we're in, it's better for a lot of people, and not everyone needs that sort of personal trainer with them in the gym, sort of every time they go. But the majority of people know sort of what they're doing. They just need someone to be accountable to and check in with them every now and again. So yeah, started off as an online coach, but to be honest, it didn't take up as much as my time as I thought it was gonna.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of once you've had the initial consultation, once you spoke to them a bit, and I find especially with guys as well, you give them the plan, you tell them to go and do it, and they'll go and do it, and you won't hit from a week. And for me, that was a bit at the start, especially, it was a bit like, well, I'm not really providing them with that much value. And it's not that; it's just that, you know yourself, I'll tell you to do something, you'll go away and do it, and you'll come back a week and tell me you've done it. But for me, that was quite hard to deal with. So after about 2 months of doing that, I was like, nah, I can't sit at home waiting around all week, waiting for someone to text and ask me something.
Okay.
It's not what I want to do. Yeah, helping people's great, and I still got that, but sort of for me personally, day to day, it was killing me. Sat at home all day, working at a laptop, pretty much doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Quite boring. So I applied for a position in a gym. And my plan was never to go into one-to-one training. It wasn't really something I had that much of a desire to do. It started out of boredom. I just needed something. And from there, yeah. So I work in the gym sort of 3-4 days a week. The rest of my time is spent training, doing check-ins, writing plans, answering questions, and just that. Yeah, but I love it.
Yeah, because it's a specific job being a coach. It's not like many other jobs, is there? You've got to be a certain type of person to be a coach.
Yeah, I've thought about this before, actually. I think people know as well, there's certain types of jobs in the world that you can not get away with, but your reasons for doing it most of the time don't matter. I think there's a few in the world where, like with this one, my reason for doing this is I know for a fact there's nothing else on planet Earth that gives me as much satisfaction or as much fulfillment as knowing that I've helped someone. And I think in this line of work, or what we do, whatever you want to call us, personal trainers, coaches, whatever, if that isn't your number one driving factor and that's not your reason for doing it, then I think you're in the wrong game.
I agree.
Yeah, there's other things, other benefits as well, but number one, your desire to help people and the feeling you get from that has to be the main thing. Has to be.
I completely agree, because if you're in it for the money, you won't see the payoffs as much. Or
Yeah.
if you're in it,
and secondly, you'll very soon realise that being in it for the money isn't that big of a reason. You're fully toast to begin with. Right?
Yeah. So is it always been a plan of yours to be a coach? Because obviously, to be a coach, you've got to be a very empathetic person. You've got to be very kind, but you've got to be disciplined as such, and you've got to kind of tell people what to do, but with empathizing what they want to do at the same time.
The danger of that, especially I'll come back to the question, but especially in our industry, that, you know, for instance, say I was to go and get a coach and I said to him or her, I wanted to achieve this by this date. Tell me what to do. Whatever they said, I'm going to go and freaking do it. So can I ask, we swear or not?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh shit, so I just stopped myself then. So I'm going to go and fucking do it. So whether they say, you know, for the next 6 months you're eating freaking rice, chicken and broccoli and training 6 times a week, I'm going to go and do it. Now, we've got to understand that not everyone's like that, and nor should they be. We can't expect people to be like that. So yes, you've got to be hard, you've got to be empathetic. But I think one of the main things is realising that not everyone's going to be like you. But that doesn't mean they don't deserve help or they still can't achieve what they want to achieve. So in terms of when I sort of realised I wanted to be a coach, I'm not sure of the moment, you know. I mean, going through school and whatnot, growing up, I was always majorly sporty. Played football, rugby all through school. But in terms of going to an actual gym, I think it was, I don't know, 15, 16 before I actually stepped foot in a gym. I suppose the same for most people, really, with the legalities of it. But even from like a personal training point of view, I don't think I was even aware that was an actual job. I wasn't aware it was something people did. And in school, I did my GCSEs. I left, and that summer I was convinced I hated school. I wasn't going back. I was done. I was going to get a job doing whatever. As long as I didn't go back to school, I was not bothered. And it was actually my mum actually that said, you know, be careful, give yourself a backup. So just in case, apply for sixth form. And lo and behold, she was right. Back at school. But long story short, that didn't go well. It wasn't for me. I lasted 3 months and then I left. And I was actually I was scrolling through online, looking for jobs as you do, and a level 2 fitness instructor course came up in Manchester, a 3-week course. And level 2 fitness instructing is basically the entry level qualification you need to be able to legally work on a gym floor. I mean, you could teach it to an elephant. Like it's not difficult. It's just what you need to do to work in the gym. So I did that, enjoyed that, passed that, whatever. But I wasn't still sure that I had that feeling of, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. It was just something maybe to, you know, kill a bit of time. I've got that. And then again, I was looking for jobs, and a level 3 PT apprenticeship came up at a local gym of mine. So level 3 is again the next qualification, which is the bare minimum you need to coach clients. So I did that, and I think I was at that gym for about a year, just over, and essentially my head fell off. I became too consumed with this idea of what a personal trainer was. I became obsessed with what I ate, how much I trained. I don't think I ate a meal with my parents for like 6 months because I couldn't.
Wow.
No, it was something like that. And I remember like freaking out if they were going to get a takeaway or, sorry, like it's bad. And yeah, I just became, and bearing in mind that I was 16, 17 at a time, at an age when you're a young lad, you're supposed to be going out and seeing your friends and, you know, enjoying yourself and messing about, doing whatever. And I became so consumed in that it all became too. So I left there, went to work for my dad owns a manufacturing company. So I worked there for 4 years. But during that time of working at the gym, even though my head fell off eventually and became too much, was a lot of the time that I thought I really, really enjoy this. And I kind of knew, even when I worked for Dad 4 years, that I had an idea in the back of it's still something I want to go to eventually. When, I don't know, but I did want to come back to that because, like we said before, the feeling of helping people is one that's unmatched for me. So it was actually, I will get to the answer eventually. It was at the end of the first actual lockdown, and me and my good mate Josh, who people watching this will know from Syntho and you and me, we went on a walk, and it was at the time he was just starting Syntho actually, so he was dead excited, he was buzzing, had loads of amazing ideas, and at the end of the walk, there was a place serving takeaway pints, and I don't know what it was. I don't know what was in the pint, or I don't know if it's because I hadn't drunk in about 4 months, but I was absolutely smashed off my head off one pint. So he basically said he was buzzing, dead excited, and he was asking about what I was doing and whatnot. And I was on furlough at the time, and I said to him, like, eventually I want to get back into coaching and do this. This is what I do. So in kind of words, he basically said, well, what the fuck are you waiting for? And it was true. I kept telling myself that, yeah, one day I'll do it. One day I'll do it. Would I have done it? I don't know. But yeah, got home, started planning. And I think 7 or 8 weeks later, I'd handed in my notice at work. And I was officially self-employed on my own.
Wow.
And on the coach, I know. So if it wasn't for that walk and that pint, I don't actually know what I'd be doing now,
Yeah, that's crazy thinking about that. How it just comes across like that. Wow.
I know. Because I think that happens with a lot of things, doesn't it? And not knocking anyone, because I was the same, but it's easy just to say, oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it soon. And until the actual moment, not you're forced to do it, but something happens or switches that you go and do it.
It was similar to me like that with because obviously I'll be joining the Navy. I was pushing it back for years, and I mean a good 2 years. My mum was kind of throwing it down my throat. I was like, get off my back! I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then I was an agency at my previous work, or my previous work, and they got rid of me. And it kind of they got rid of me, and I walked out of the office smiling, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like, now's the time to go and join the Navy. Obviously, it's a big waiting game for me at the moment, but it was weird. Something so weird of getting sacked from a job clicks for me, and I was like, right, I'm joining the Navy. And I remember walking out of the office being sacked, happy.
Yeah, I said, we had this conversation the other day about, something happened, and I said, you'll probably look back on this in a few weeks, few months' time, and it could turn out to be the best thing that ever happened. Even though it doesn't feel like it right at the time, it's like, and it's hard to see that. And I know when other people say it to you, it's like, piss off, mate. But it normally is the way, and it normally is because you're a good lad and you'll make the best of it. Whatever, I think.
Yeah, but I completely agree with the fact what you said then is obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, unfortunately I lost my job last week. And I was a bit in the dumps last week thinking, bloody hell, I enjoyed that job. I only worked 3 days a week. I had four days to work on Orange and my fitness and spend time with my family. And then push comes to shove, I've ended up getting near enough an amazing job off this that paid near enough double from what I was on. So I've come out doing good, but it's just them first initial bits of when you're all fuzzy and all blurred up where it's bad.
So tough, you're emotional and you're irrational, and I'm the worst for it, man, like reacting to them. But I think important to remember as well, and thing that took me last year is, whatever is happening in your life to this point, however hard it's been, that by the fact that you've still sat here, you're okay, you've always been strong enough to deal with it. So no matter what happened, you've always been fine. So what is it that makes you think now that this time's going to be any different? You've got to have faith in, or trust in yourself, that you're going to be able to handle it, and your future self will handle whatever happens to you. But like I say, it's so easy for me to sit here now and say that. In that moment, it is so tough. And outing on Insta ain't going to change that. But you just got to always remember, whatever's happened in the past, you still sat here now and you've dealt with it. Deal with the things in it.
So why is it that you see a lot of PTs or coaches as such just do PT and coaching? So why is that you are pushing that extra mile and doing these 100k runs and Ironmen or Ironmans, as you say?
So I don't know if that.
You see them a lot. I remember when I first said to my friends, "Oh, my coach is doing 100k," and they're kind of like, "All right." And I went, "Just 1 second. My coach is doing 100k. It is 62.18 miles or whatever it is." I went, "Do you understand what that is?" And you can't take 5 seconds to think 62 point. That's like from here to Liverpool type of thing. It's
Someone said that. Someone was like, when I think it was just before, just after doing it, like, what you can do afterwards. I was like, oh, I don't know yet. And I think she said like, oh, you could run city to city. And I think I looked at Liverpool, and I think even running there still wasn't as far.
It was crazy. So what is it inside you that makes you do that then? What is there something just?
I thought about this a lot, you know, and I'm not sure. I don't know if it. I mean, I know when you say in question it as in like comparing to other PTs and coaches and whatnot. I mean, the majority of ultra runners and people who do these things aren't coaches, so I don't know that crossover. But for me, I don't know. I mean, I've always had this thing where whether it's good or bad is subjective, but I've always wanted to do more. I've never wanted to be better than anyone else, but I've always wanted to do more than anyone else. But I've always wanted to do more than sort of I did yesterday or did in the past. I always want to go above and beyond. I think early on it came from a place of maybe insecurity, maybe fear of failure, maybe maybe a sense of like perfectionism in terms of, you know, unless I do not these crazy things, because I wasn't doing this forever, but unless I keep doing more and I keep being my best, what that means, or unless I'm perfect, then I don't know, I won't be loved or people won't appreciate me or anything like that. There was a time as well, actually, I think I spoke to someone about this last year, and this has always stuck with me and more than I thought. There was a time when I was in year 5 or 6, and me and a bunch of other kids from my football team got invited to go down for trials for a team called Mactown. And we went down, there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids there. My dad took me, and I didn't do well. And I come home in the car, and I knew I didn't do well, and I was gutted. I knew I wasn't going to get selected or whatever. And I remember my mum ringing in the car, and my dad was on hands-free, and she said, "Well, how did he do?" And my dad said he didn't get stuck in, and that was in his words, saying, you know, he didn't try hard enough, he didn't do his best, or he didn't work hard enough, or whatever. And the more I think about it now, the more potentially I think it could be something to do with little things like that. So yeah, I don't know where I developed the love for doing things that suck, but I do love it, and I don't think that's ever going to leave me. I love in the midst of it. I love pushing yourself in that moment, and I love the feeling at the end of it. Like you all know with your marathon, the feeling.
Nothing that really compares, is there?
It's undescribable. But yeah, I mean, in terms of that and doing more, I guess, because I'm the type of person that always wants to do more. I mean, I ran my first half marathon in April 2019. Did the very first lockdown last year. I ran my first marathon, and then it's a case of what's next. Do you know what I mean? And yeah,
is it because I struggle with that too? Is it? And I remember you putting something on your story the other day about. Do you reckon it's the feeling of never really fully being satisfied or content? Because that's something I was speaking to my mum, because I always go to my mum before a podcast to go, is there anything that you'd ask that I would, just so I see someone else's? And she knows better than anyone. It's hard for me to be content. I've very rarely been like, right, sound, that's enough. It's either when I was partying, it's like, right, I'm staying for another 2 more hours. Or if it's doing business, right, I need to make 100 quid. Or whatever it is, it's always I need to do that one step more. So do you feel like that's with you too?
In some aspects, it's so hard. It's so hard because you'll know yourself. In some aspects, it serves you really, really well. You don't want to lose it. Like trying to better yourself and keep doing more and keep pushing is in a lot of ways is a really good thing. But in some ways, it'll fuck you up. It'll fuck you up. And I suppose I mean I can't answer why people do it. I haven't got a clue. Don't know the psychology behind it, but it's just, I think it's just learning what that balance is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just happens as we grow up older anyway, that we'll learn that, and as we have experiences, we'll learn that. But yeah, why we do it, I don't know, and why I do it.
Because a lot of people,
my mum would
care out the window, like there's no chance. Like, what's the point in it? But people,
yeah.
for example, when I seen you do it, I was like, I need to do it, I need to do it, I need to do it, and you get obsessed on the idea of pushing yourself that one bit further.
That's a good point actually as well. I think that's the thing. I mean, I've always told myself that I've never been bothered about sort of, like I said to you before, I've never been bothered about being better than anyone else or competing against anyone. But it's true that when you see other people doing certain things, like, freaking hell, I should be doing that. Or when I ran the 100k and I soon come home and then Goggins is posting that he's just run like 200 miles. What? There's always someone doing more. There's always someone doing more, and there's someone doing more. And that's important to remember as well, to not get too consumed in that, because no matter who you look up to when you think freaking hell, put them on a pedestal, in some aspects of their life or in some of the circles they're in, what they do diminishes in comparison to what the people they're with do. So it's important to remember that too. But yeah, going back, I don't know why I do it. I really don't.
Not a clue. Not a clue. So one thing also which helps, what is a bit of a long question, is who or what drives you to be better then? Is it yourself, or is it, like we said, when you see something like Goggins, or what is it that drives you to be better, and what's the goal?
Yeah, so this probably crosses over to what we just spoke about. Like I say earlier on, I think maybe it's coming from a place of insecurity, for failure not being enough. I always used to say as well that my thing was, people ask me like, oh, why do you do what you do? And my thing was in life like, oh, my only goal in life is to make my mum proud. That was used to be my thing. I just want to make my mum proud. I very quickly realised that no matter what I did, my mum would always be proud of me. So, as an excuse, like, I'm not running 100k to make my mum proud. Trust me, you want me to do it. But yeah, so I used to say that, I realised I couldn't use that. I think if I'm honest with myself, I think there's a lot of ego involved. And I think there's still an element of, people expect this of me, like I need to do this, which is stupid. I know it's stupid, but I still think there's an element of that. And then I know we're talking about being a coach, being empathetic and understanding people. And I always try and do that. I always try and see things from other people's perspectives as best I can. But a part of me thinks, like, why would you not want to push yourself? Do you know what I mean? Why would you not want to be the best you could possibly be at whatever you have to do, whatever you choose to do, whatever you get to do? Why would you not want to push yourself to be the best? If you're doing something by way of virtue, you're having to do it. The time's going to pass anyway. You're doing it. So why would you not want to? I can't for the life of me understand these people that sort of accepts just coasting. I'm not saying you have to set world records or anything, but in terms of you and you as a person, why would you not want to be, not compared to everyone else, why would you not want to be the best person that you could possibly be? And I can't get my head around that. And it's cliche as it sounds, we say this all the time, we're all going to die one day. And you heard the phrase sometimes, but when I'm laying on my deathbed, wherever that is, I don't want to be sat there and thinking, what if I'd have just worked a bit harder at that? What if I'd have just gone for that a bit more, or tried that? That fucking terrifies the life out of me. That really terrifies the life out of me. And it's not about, I don't care what job I end up doing. I don't care how much money I have or how many cars I have or what I achieve. But if I can lie down on my deathbed and say, nah, fucking, I did my best. Like, I can honestly say, like, I gave everything the best shot, or I worked as hard as I could, I had fun along the way, I was kind to people, then for me, job done.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's a famous quote I really, really like, and it's weird because as soon as you hear it, it gives you a little click, and it's, every man has two lives and his second one starts when he realises he's got one.
Yeah.
And as soon as I realised, it's like, it's so true. I went, a lot of people live life like it's going to happen tomorrow, no matter what God you believe in, or if you think you're going to come back as another human. I'm not bothered. This life, I've got it.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
You, not, I mean, no one's ever asked me this question, but you hear people say, like, oh, you're scared of death or whatnot. And it's like, well, you know, like, would you want to live forever? It's like, well, no. Like, part of
the
reason, like, we're so lucky with this is that it's going to end one day, and that should be a pretty big motivator for people. Like, there's only so much, not time you can waste, but it's a limited span. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that this is going to end one day, I don't know when it is, but it is. So why would you not want to try and do everything you possibly can before it does? And just that's one thing I really struggle to sort of not sympathise with people, but I can't get my head around it. Why you wouldn't want to try and do your best? I can't understand it.
Because over the years of me growing as a person too, is I've done a lot of things, and one thing I've got down here I want to talk about. Well, you look back and you say regret, and then I look back and think, what would have been worse, me doing something and failing and being the embarrassment of failing, or me regretting not doing it? And the feeling of regret is so much worse than the feeling of failing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Would argue the only way to fail is to not try at all, and that's cringy as it sounds, but you're never going to know, are you?
Exactly.
How scared, because the emotions attached with failure are, like you said, Dan, you said embarrassment, you let people down or whatever, but that, like you said, why are we so scared to be a little bit embarrassed? Like, we shouldn't be embarrassed, and we've not let anyone down, but how is that such like a driving factor in our lives that it will put us off? It will put doing so many things, it will put them off, that we can't just overcome that. And like you say, the feeling of regret is far worse. It's far worse.
Yeah, it is.
Many people regret the things that, obviously you might regret them instantly, but once the years pass, I don't think many people regret the things that they've done. I think most of the time it's like, fucking hell, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I'd have tried that, wish I worked a bit harder at that. It's very rarely like, oh, fucking hell, I wish I'd done that.
No, I think I've done some silly things in my past, some really silly things that have got me into a lot of trouble. But I even look back now and I speak to my mum and I go, I'm thankful it all happened.
Yeah.
I am thankful the silly things and the stupid stuff I've done in my past. I've done it because the person I was before all that was just an awful person. I used to look at people and think if they didn't have nice clothes on, they weren't a nice person. I used to look down at people. I was very negative all the time. Going through all that hardship and going through all that failure has opened my eyes to stuff of just, it's not about that. It's about just being a nice, kind-hearted person at the end of the day and always trying to be better.
Yeah. And you start to think, don't you, as like, you can think like, would I be where I am today? Would I be the type of person I am today if all that hadn't have happened? And if you don't know, then I guess it's like, well, I'm freaking glad it did then, because I kind of like the type of person I am now. Kind of like, so, like you said, just be grateful for it, I guess. And the worst makes a funny story.
It does. It does make a funny story at the end of the day. So yeah, obviously we talked about you if there's any regrets. So what's an actual day in the life or the day-to-day routine for you? Because one thing I've learned from you is get a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of already had one before it with my journal, and I wrote what I did and when I did it, but how important a routine is.
Yeah.
So probably go over what you do and then maybe what you think the importance of a routine actually is.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm probably too fixated on routines sometimes and plan and knowing what I'm doing. I quite like certainty, which again sometimes is good, but again sometimes is a downfall. So actually, it's interesting this, and I've thought about this a lot recently in terms of routine. And I think morning routine is a big one for people at the minute. And I think last year and the past few years especially, I mean, I got to a point where my morning routine was not morning; it was lasting half a fucking day. Like we see all these things, and in terms of like we talk about routine and like bettering yourself and self-development, it's very easy to get swept along in just doing all the things that you think are associated or should come with self-development. So, you know, I was freaking reading, stretching, doing yoga, going on walks each morning, and all that. Like, you stop and you think a bit, and it's like, why am I doing that? Am I doing it because it's actually taking me closer to the type of person I want to be? Is it making me a better person? Or am I just doing it because it's what an Instagram caption said I should be doing to better myself? And it's easy to get swept along in that. So now my morning routine is pretty much two things. I read and I stretch. And when I'm stretching, I listen to a podcast. Now on an average work day, it can change. We're training at the minute, and if it's a weekend, doing check-ins. But I'd say get up, read, stretch, food. I'll do my sort of cardio training for the day first thing in the morning or after a run and stretch. So run, cycle, or swim. And then if I'm working, work shift, might have a few clients. And then sort of if I've got any strength work to do, I'll do that in the evening. Evening routine's probably where I struggle quite a bit. You'll know yourself how hard it is.
Yeah.
I think that is at night, putting your freaking phone down.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard. So hard. But yeah, people say your morning routine actually starts the night before, and I need to try and remember that a bit more. But yeah, in terms of people having a routine, what I'd say to them is try and really be quite specific. Be specific about how you want to better yourself, because it's quite a vague term. So think about the things, think about the exact type of person you want to be, and not what anyone else wants you to be, not what you think you should be, but who's the type of person you want to be. And once you're clear on that, once you've got clarity on that, we all know deep down what we should be doing if we understand that. I think the hard part is, and where people go wrong, is getting swept along in what they think they should be doing, when in reality it's not what they want to be doing. A good way to do it is to take things out of your morning routine or any kind of routine and see if you actually feel any different. Does it actually affect your life in any way? I mean, don't sleep for 3 days. You'll soon fucking realise that sleep's pretty damn important. Don't drink water for 2 days. You'll soon realise that water's important. I know for a fact that if I didn't stretch each morning, that I would get injured. I know for a fact that if I didn't read each morning, then I won't be as mentally sharp, or I won't have as much clarity, kind of thing. I know if I didn't exercise, probably exercise too much, but as much as I did, that I'd feel groggy and lethargic. So I know everything I do now in terms of bettering myself, I know they all serve a purpose, and I know they all work. Mm-hmm. So it's that being really clear about the type of person you want to be, and then just
a lot with self-awareness too, isn't it? Being aware of what you want to be. Because one thing I struggled at growing up when I was a lot younger was I always wanted to be who my friends wanted me to be, or who social media wanted to be. But now I am who I want to be. Well, I'm getting there. Mm-hmm. But people get lost in all that, don't they?
But it's so easy, innit? You have the external pressures. You have what your parents think you should do. Luckily, I've got really supportive parents, so I've never really had that issue. But then you've got some people have their friends want to do, society, and then coupled on that now, the age we're in now with social media, mm-hmm. It's like, and then there's the internal conflict. It's like constantly you feel like you're being judged. But yeah, I mean, just be really clear about who you want to be, and try not to get swept along in it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one, but it's definitely needed. So one thing that definitely Goggins says this is, if you want to find out who you are, just go for a big long run. Go through suffering. Go through suffering where you're at the lowest of lows of your life. Like, one thing, I always go back to me here, but one thing, I went through a load of crap that I put myself through years ago, and I was really down in the dumps. But down in them dumps, when I was suffering and I was feeling like shit, I found out who I was, and I do genuinely believe in that. You've got to go and do a bit of suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, you learn. I always say, like, I've never learned so much about myself as I did during that run. Yeah, and it's not the only way you can find yourself, but it's a good way to do it. It is a good way to do it.
Good but painful.
Oh, freaking hell, yeah! I don't know if it's actually worth it. But yeah, I think as well. Speaking specifically about social media, it's tough as well, because people that I'm aware, I post a lot on socials. I'm on it a lot, probably a bit too much. I convince myself it's for my work, but a lot of the time I'm frustrated to be lazy. But you sort of you build this idea, or you present this idea to people about who you are, and then it's almost like, well, you can't drop below that because it's what people are expecting of you. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of set this standard for yourself as, for instance, I've set a standard that, you know, I'm always out doing things, I'm always getting after it, being productive. And it's like, I'm not saying that anyone freaking, that I'm some kind of important guy that people expect things from, but internally it's like, if I have a day where I'm not up to that and I just fucking want to sit in bed all day and do nothing, it's like, shit. Like, do you know what I mean? People are going to be thinking, fucking hell, what's he doing? Like, should be like, and I think with as well, so going back to Goggins, and I appreciate some people watching the Soup don't know what he is, but I think there's an element for him, I don't know the guy, but there must be, that he knows, and he is like on the such high level that he knows there's millions and millions and millions of people waiting for him to go and do something mad. And like the pressure of that must just be, it must be insane. And he at the end of his book, actually, that, you know, I think his reasons for doing it was early on, he's running away from things, you know, trying to prove stuff to people. And he said at the end of his book, he found peace, and that he don't feel like he needs to do that anymore. And I really hope that's the case, because I'm not sure I believe him.
Yeah, I don't.
I think he's built such a following now, and I'm not sure he expected to do it. But like I say, the pressure of having the millions of people waiting for you because you're that guy, you're get someone going to do it no matter what, and the pressure of that must just be
overwhelming.
Yeah,
a bit too much.
When's he going to stop, man?
I know, it's scary.
I want to go on holiday or something and have a break, man. Yeah.
So obviously, you set yourself challenges. What about the 4x4x48 Goggins?
Oh, man. That's another stupid thing I do as well. Because as soon as I do, right now, I'm supposed to be in the middle of running bloody 21 half marathons in 21 days. I ran, I think it was, what day are we on now? Thursday. I think, was it Sunday? I think I ran a half marathon on Sunday, which is like the first I ran since the 100. Mate, I couldn't fucking move. And I woke up and I was like, yeah, this ain't happening. Like, I'm on day one. This ain't happening. So that's another stupid thing I do. Like, I'll do this on social media again, and like, not that anyone cares, but it's another level of accountability, innit? So I'll see something, I'll be freaking wrapped up in bed in a dead good, like, warm environment, and I'll think, yeah, I'll do that. And I'll be like, I'll do that, and then next day I'm like, shit.
Yeah, you couldn't have said that.
Yeah.
You couldn't have said
that. The 100k thing was done in a day, like, whatever. The thought of doing something relentlessly like that. So, like, there was a guy recently, I don't know if you saw, I kept sharing, that ran like 31 marathons in 4-hour marathons in 31 days.
Yeah.
Just like, so the relentlessness of that, I always say this, like, imagine being on that 5th day, like halfway through the marathon, and thinking, I've still got another 26 to go. It's like, what? So I think the relentlessness of something like that tempts me. So doing, like, I wanted to do the 21 days, whereas that wasn't happening. So the 4x4 in 48 is tempting.
It's tempting, but apparently it's another level of hard that you don't even realise, because your body doesn't go into full recovery.
It's the sleep deprivation as well, and you've got to remember. So what is it? Is it like 7k, 7 and a bit k?
Yeah.
So you pace yourself. What you're looking at, I don't know. You're doing well, 35 minutes for each one. So that means by the time you get back, the time you get settled down, you've got 3 and a bit hours before you've got to do another one. And it's like, when you break it down like that, that is not much time to recover.
No.
Like, when do you sleep?
I know.
It's like, when do you eat? Like, so I don't know. But I guess the thing with like these ones, the day after day, I mean, everyone's fingers crossed this is the last lockdown now that we have to go through. But I'm probably never going to get a chance to do something like that again, if you know what I mean. Because when I'm at work and I've got responsibilities and stuff, like before they say I'm not running, I'm not 21 days. So yeah, that tempts me. I definitely won't be doing it this weekend, which is when I think Goggins is doing it.
So.
But I think that's the one.
That is, it's a good one, isn't it? I want to do, definitely. Yeah. So for the people who are listening now, or who are going to listen back on Apple Music, Spotify, all of it, what are some little you've taught me a lot of little tips and tricks of just finding happiness, gratitude, success. What are little tips and tricks? Honestly, we could open a whole can of worms here. What are little tips and tricks you can give them to probably, like, one thing you give me that helped me massively, it was the 3 things you're grateful every day. Every single day, I write 3 things I'm grateful for. And it just wakes up in that morning, instead of going on your phone straight away, I go on open my journal, write 3 things I'm grateful for, and it's something already started off to a good day.
Yeah.
So what are some other little things you probably could give people?
I think that's a big one, and I don't do it enough. And I think the trouble is, it becomes with the gratitude thing. It's like you've got to really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, I'm grateful for the trees and the fresh air. What are you really, 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 really deeply grateful for? So if you do it correctly, it can be a big thing. Mm-hmm. And like you just said then about not going on your phone first thing in the morning. Now, I think that's another one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what people look at on the phone in the morning, but even just setting off your day, not sort of consuming what everyone else is doing. That's not a bad thing. Like, you know, if you're careful with social media and who you follow, that's not a bad thing at all. But I think it was it Matthew? I always forget how to pronounce his second name. McConaughey, the actor.
Yeah.
He was on Rogan's podcast, I think, a few weeks or a few months ago, and one of the things he said was in the morning, just, you know, having an hour to yourself, or checking in with yourself before you check in with the world. I think was the phrase.
Yeah, he said that.
And I think that's quite big. And I don't know what that looks like for him. I can't remember what he said. I don't know what it looks like for other people. But, you know, just really sitting there and thinking what you're grateful for. You know, what's your intent for the day. Thinking about how you feel, not letting someone else not decide how you feel. But if I read Twitter first thing in the morning, I'm scrolling through and there's freaking 1,000 articles about how we're going to be in lockdown for the next 37 years. Yeah. I'm going to feel. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. So I think in terms of starting your day off right and not going on your phone, and I know myself that not going on your phone is a bad thing, whatever, but that first hour in the morning sets the fucking tone for the day, 100%. And if I check my phone, well, I would rather have, come the end of the day in terms of screen time, I would rather have sort of 6 or 7 hours total screen time and have not checked it in the morning than have 1 hour screen time, but that 1 hour be first thing in the morning. I think it really sets the tone for the day.
It's funny you should say that, is because at the moment with me regarding work, I'm starting work on Monday. So this week I've kind of said to myself is there isn't really much I can do. I've done everything I can really do. But if I get up in the morning, I go for my walk, I could be sat on that sofa for the rest of the day and I won't doubt myself.
100%. 100%.
Up and I come downstairs and I watch that and then I went on my phone for a bit and then I might go for a walk. I know by fact I would feel like shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, you're 100% right. I think in terms of, I don't know, in terms of people instantly feeling better, I mean, it's rare that in the fucking flick of a switch you can make yourself feel 100 times better. But even just things like you just said then, and it's cliche as it sounds, and I feel a bit of a dick like saying it, but, you know, go for a walk. Fuck me. Take a breath.
Crazy what a walk can do for you.
One that you fucking love, you know, just take a minute and write stuff down, write how you're feeling down. And I say this to people all the time, and again, I feel like a bit of a dick saying it because it sounds like, oh yeah, that'll cure all my problems. It's not going to cure all your problems, but it might make yourself feel a tiny bit better in that split moment. Mm-hmm. And then that creates endless possibilities, you know what I mean? It's not solving everything in that split moment. You know, do that. The best freaking therapist, psychologist in the world isn't going to do that for you. But in them moments, them 1 second decisions, it's about trying to do what you can to just take yourself out of that zone. So I don't think there's specific things that you can necessarily do to solve everything, but there's just 1 second decisions throughout the day, choices you make. And the more you do them, the more sort of trust and belief and evidence that they work you're going to have. So the more you're going to be likely to do them again. I think in terms of where we're at the moment, everyone already knows it's a ridiculous time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think with people specifically struggling at the minute, and I don't know about you, but I found I found this one to be the hardest out of any of them.
I completely agree. This is a lot difficult than the other ones for me.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of like right or wrong. You know, January the 1st is like, it's supposed to be the turning point where everyone, you know, starts fresh again and, you know, gets excited about the year. However that long that lasts for people, I don't know. But for everyone, it's normally that point. And I think it was almost a bit of a, not a slap in the face, but it was like, you're on a high, you're like thinking, fucking hell, 2020's done, 2021. And it's like, right, we're back in lockdown. It's like,
Yeah.
it's that realization that it's moving on into this year as well.
Yeah.
Like Corona gives a fuck about what year it is, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
slap in the face. So I think for now, for people to try and get through these next few weeks of whenever the restrictions get lifted, it's accept that, and we spoke before about, you know, self-awareness, self-acceptance, that you're going to feel shit some days.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as. And yeah, we don't want to stay there, but that's reality. Like, you're not going to feel like you want to get up and take on the world every day. And that's okay. And, you know, none of us, no one alive now has been through something like this. No one on planet Earth has been through something like this before. So how we're expected to know the right way to deal with it, we're not.
Yeah.
And maybe it happens in 20 years, God forbid, I hope it doesn't, but we might have a bit of a better idea. But firstly, accept and don't put additional pressure on yourself because you don't feel great some days. You know, it's enough as it is. We don't need the additional pressure of, fucking hell, why am I feeling shit? We're feeling shit because we're in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Because we can't see people, we can't do what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we're speaking about like to-do lists and tasks and getting stuff done before, now I'm big on that, and, you know, setting out my day. But something I've actually done the past week or so is, instead of thinking of it as a day, if we look over the course of the week, and if you're sat there on a Sunday night and you think, right, this next week I want to, I don't know, do a total of 80,000 steps. I want to do 3 home workouts, and I want to read, I don't know, 100 pages of my book, whatever it might be, don't matter what it is. But if you sat down on a Sunday night and you say, okay, I want to have done that by the end of next week, when I sit here again and look back, that then takes away the fear or the worry or the potential of waking up on the Monday and thinking, I do not feel good here, I'm fucking not doing it. And sitting in bed all day eating Pop-Tarts and watching 7 episodes, and then come the end of Monday you think, shit, my week's fucked already because I've had one bad day. If you were to set sort of the weekly target, it's like, right, I've not felt great today, but we'll pick it up tomorrow. And that means then, you know, you might do something Tuesday, you might do a bit more Wednesday, you might have a bad day again Thursday. But come the end of the week, as long as you've got them things done that you set out to do, looking back at it, you're not fucking tearing your hair out and beating yourself up because of the fact that you had Monday. You're still looking back and thinking, fucking hell, look at everything I've done this week. You know, that's what I want to do. And you feel good about yourself. And then again, that might make you feel better, give you inspiration to do more, motivation the next week. But got to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves to feel 100% day in, day out. And I'm not sure I'll do that when things go back to normal, if they ever go back to normal. But for now, I think that's a really good way for people to do it. Yeah. Just take pressure off.
I completely agree, especially with the to-do list, is because I remember when I first got my journal, I got my journal 6 months ago, and a 6-month journal. And I remember at the very beginning of it, I used to be a prisoner to my journal. If it said that on my journal, I'd refuse to go to meals because I said I'm going for a swim. Like silly things like that. I'm not going for a meal with my family because I wrote on my diary I'm going for.
Yeah.
Like it used to be. I used to be a prisoner to my diary, and then the more I talked about it, and the more I talked to people, you don't have to be a prisoner to what you set out at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
All I know is if I write down in that journal, today I want to do a podcast, 80%, it's probably about an 80% chance it's going to get done. That 20% chance I don't want to do it, I might do it the next day.
Yeah.
It's just the feeling of that I can get it down, right? I might be able to tick it off today. It's better not getting it written down.
100%, yeah. It's because it's still there, and even just there to sort of remind yourself to do it and accountability. I always say that nothing. The last when I first started, when I left John, first started coaching, the first thing I did was buy a massive whiteboard, and I'd say it's probably I can't think of many things that I've bought that have given me as much value. I've never more accountable than my fucking to-do list on my whiteboard. If it's on there, it's getting done. But yeah, we on to-do lists, it's easy, and it's easy to get swept along. And I'm guilty of having to-do lists longer than my fucking arm, and it's very easy to tick off the dead easy things and think, oh yeah, I feel productive. You're like, I'm busy, like get it done, because it gives you a good feeling. You'll know the dopamine response and whatnot, that you tick something off and you feel good about yourself. But I think it was Gochi that said the things that matter most should never be at the mercy of the things that matter least. And it's very easy to just write a to-do list and just keep ticking off all them easy things that aren't that important, but they still give you that sense of, okay, I've achieved something.
Yeah.
So if you're doing to-do lists, just be very careful that it's stuff that matters.
Yeah.
You're not just taking the easy ride kind of thing.
Yeah, I always say this. It's because I always say it to my mum too, because I don't even mean to sound big-headed over it, but I do have really big aspirations and dreams for myself. And I always say, when I'm older, I am not cleaning my clothes or putting them or drying them. I'm not doing it. I want to get to a level of financial freedom where I can pay someone to come weekly and do my washing for me. Because I despise doing it. Oh my God. So one thing I always say, especially to my girlfriend and my mum, is I can be productive in a day, but is it the right type of productive? Because we could sit there all day and go, right, hoover the floor or wash the plates or something like that. But it's being productive. You're doing something, but is it the right type of productive that's going to get you to your goal?
Yeah, that's the kind of the scary bit of it, and that's what I've thought about these last few weeks as well. There's a difference between being busy and being productive. Because in essence, all productive really means is doing things that are moving you closer to what you want to achieve or the type of person you want to be. Yeah. And it's very easy to convince yourself by writing a big to-do list and ticking these little things off that you're doing that, when in reality, it's like we said before about the routines. Like, are you just getting swept along in doing things because you think you should be doing them, or is it because it's actually helping you and benefiting you? And that just comes from sitting down and being really fucking honest with yourself.
Yeah,
because it is easy, and taking things off your to-do list does feel good. It fucking feels good. But it's like you say, it's not always the best thing or the right thing to do.
I completely agree.
Urgent versus important. Are you letting the urgent things take over or take away from the important things? It's very easy to get swept up in day-to-day doing the urgent things, but it's the important most. Definitely. So we are actually wrapping up onto an hour. It's mad how quick they go. They fly by, yeah. So probably a deep question again is so when you're coming to the end of your life, what is something you want to be remembered for? Is there certain goals you want to get? Is this what is it? Because at the moment it's coaching, be a kind person. Is it going to be that for the rest of your life, or is there more, do you think? Or is it too big of a question to answer, do you reckon? This was the question that my mum advised to tell you too, so blame her for it. I feel like at the minute, I don't know whether this is good or bad, but at the minute I don't have, I see people these like, I know a lot of people these massive like dreams, aspirations, and they're so clear on specifically what they want to do and want to achieve, and I'm a bit jealous of them. I don't know if it's just me, I don't know, being lazy, being scared to sort of sit down and think about what it is that I actually want. But I really don't have that. I just want to keep, firstly, in the moment right now, I want to keep helping people. I want to keep showing up. And I almost feel that about, just be a kind person, being your best. I kind of feel that if I'm laying on my deathbed and I'm thinking about anything else apart from that, then I've lost myself.
Yeah.
So as I am jealous of these people that are really there. Maybe over the next few years, as things start to open up, then I'll think, yeah, I know exactly what it is I really want to do. I know what I want to achieve. But I think if I can, like we said before, and as cringy as it sounds, whatever, if I can lie there at the end and say that, yeah, I was a good person, I was kind to people, I tried to help others, had fun, worked hard, did my best, then I'll be pretty fucking happy, man. I'll be fucking happy. But yeah, completely. Ask me that again. I have a different answer.
We'll do this in like 3 years' time and see how much But yeah, it's true what you're saying. You don't have to know now. I remember because my mum was an air stewardess for 25 plus years, and then she got made redundant. And then she was like, "What do I like doing? I like dogs. I'm going to be a dog groomer." And then she has never had an unhappy day since, because at the age of 42 or however old she is, she finally found a dream. And that's
Yeah.
something I used to knock myself loads for, thinking I used to be awful for it. My friends used to have money saved, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I've just fucking spent 500 quid on this weekend going partying." I went, "I've not got my life great." But and then I just think, and then it implies that we're still so young to make decisions in life.
It's I'm trying to like talk to Mrs. about this at the minute, and I say this: my mum, I mean, she always says this to me. You know, she didn't find what she wanted to do something to yours till she's 40, and there's so much pressure. Not, I wouldn't say pressure on us, because I think we put it on ourselves, but it's sort of like you just said, this panic about, shit, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Just live, enjoy, go find things. You know, you might not, you probably don't know what you want to do yet, because you've not found like what you're really, really passionate about, and it's not a problem. It will come eventually. You keep trying to keep, but there's no rush. There's no rush.
No, there isn't.
Don't panic. Don't panic.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think we're literally coming up to 57 now, so it's just nearly hit an hour.
Perfect.
I just want to say a big thank you for coming on. And if anybody has got, probably not music questions, because you're probably not going to be able to answer any music
I
questions.
won't tell you anything about that. Don't ask me that.
If you've got music questions, ask me. But if you've got anything, you're struggling, you're feeling down, you feel like you need a coach, someone to talk to, drop yourself a message.